Hello, Carol Register here. If you're ready to unlock your wealth identity, you want to be here today. You want to hear Loral Langemeier. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her and who she is, but let's dive right in. Laurel, if you're wanting to help somebody with wealth, with what you were just sharing with me, I'd
Mhm.
love to hear the question you have about invisible pain.
Yes, where is your invisible pain? There's a lot of gaps in most people's life. What I teach differently. I wrote the Millionaire Maker series. Carol will talk more about that. This is version 2 that we put out in 2025. And most people have a lot of what I call invisible pain points. Tax is usually number one. People just overpay tax. They kick the responsibility out to their tax strategist or CPA. And worse, if they're doing their own taxes, they're not even in the game I'm playing yet because you don't do your own taxes. And most people just continue to overpay.
Oh, I love that. Let me share a little bit about you, Laurel. This is such an interesting bio about the way you started. Um, and the fact that you're the CEO of several alternative asset companies. I love that word,
Yeah.
alternative. Since 1996, Miss Langemeyer has been involved in multiple areas of finance, mentoring, real estate investing, business acquisitions and development, and gas oil. If you're wanting to learn some higher level thinking in terms of your wealth, she's the one you're going to want to be listening to today. And I'm so excited to have you. I think it's really
Thank you.
interesting how following your graduations with a bachelor's degree in physiology, studying bachelor's degree in business administration and finance, and a
Business. Yeah.
master's degree in
Yeah.
exercise physiology. That's
Yep.
super interesting. And that was from the Wesleyan University of Nebraska and the University of Nebraska at Omaha, then getting
Mhm.
picked up by Chevron to teach health, fitness, and nutrition to workers on oil rigs off the coast of New
Yep.
Orleans. Now, that must have been so incredibly interesting. And then at age
Well,
24, you entered a new contract. She entered a new contract with Chevron and built over 272 fitness centers on
yep.
offshore rigs. And then you
Yep.
partnered with a professor of engineering and a team of students at LSU, Louisiana State University, and rose to a senior level position with the Fortune 500 company of Chevron
Mhm.
in San Francisco. And then you spent 5 years in corporate America. Now you've established Live Out Loud, a mentoring company in Novato, California, and to date she's published six New York Times best-selling books and produced over 1,000 CDs and videos. She grew Live Out Loud into a multi-international $1 million company. So this is the energy
Multi,
you want to be
multi,
in.
multi,
Multi, and you did it in only five
multi-million.
years. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, incredible. And then you spread out like in Australia, you had offices there, Africa,
Mhm.
Canada. You launched your chart-topping podcast, Real
Mhm.
Money Talks. And then you created a networking and fulfillment company called Integrated Wealth Systems. That presently is grossing over 5 million. And it's a highly sought after money management. She is a highly sought after money management expert and has appeared in USA Today, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNN, CNBC, Fox News Channel, Dr. Phil, Face the Nation, and on the web at abcnews.com, Forbes.com, and businessweek.com. Welcome, Laurel. Thank you
Well,
for being here. I'm really honored.
thank you. It's great to be here. And Yeah, it took more than five. We've been doing this. I've been doing mentoring and mastermind. Started what's called the Big Table. First one ever doing one thing, which is making millionaires. So in 2002, I started I'm sorry, 2001, I started the Big Table. This was our 25th anniversary. We redid the Millionaire Maker book.
Wow.
And in 2022, probably my passion project, which was how to make your kids millionaires.
I love
So
that.
we've been doing this in all of that. And then our YouTube channel is Prevalent, which is Loral Langemeier, the Millionaire Maker.
Wow.
And, it's been interesting, Carol, because prior to 2021, in fact, March 7th, 2020, I was at Eric Swanson's event who introduced us together
Yeah.
and flew home from Houston, Texas to every stage in TV being canceled. And it just was
Yeah.
a whole new restructuring as it was for almost every company. And we reset, and now I'm almost 100% online. And we do our own events still with a big table. And I speak every once in a while for very special groups, but I stay right here mostly in my studio.
I love this. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And you're known as a millionaire maker, as you referred to. What inspired your accelerator coaching program?
uh, just teaching people, really studying for myself. At 17 years old, I got the book Think and Grow Rich. Soon
Mm,
after that, Bob Proctor was one of my first mentors, and I've mentored with all the greats from Zig to met Jim Rohn, Brian
wow.
Tracy, Mark Victor Hans, all of them. I've worked with them. I've been business partners with the majority of them, and so just the study of millionaires and a lot of people say they're the millionaire maker. It's like, well, I got the book and the brand. So, and I've had it since 2025, actually. When McGraw hired me to write this in 2025, it was a 3-book series on how to become millionaires, how to create your cash machine, which is your business, and then how to invest the money that you make. Because millionaires' patterns is making and investing money, not making and spending incorrectly, which is why you have tax problems. So, what inspired it is, there had to have been a formula, and it can't be that hard to crack. And I feel like we've cracked it. And I think what I'm known for is just teaching more like what I call common sense, practical application
Mm,
versus the theory. And so many gurus just talk about the theory. They
yeah.
might have done one transaction. I have done an enormous amount of transactions. I've run hundreds of companies, and it's been a fun ride.
I love that so much. I'm neuroscience based, so we do
Hmm.
really go into the mindset work, which I know you also cover,
Hmm.
to set the
Yeah.
foundation for the practical application and the strategy. But they're a both and. They work together, and it's really important with your experience to be able to bring the actual application to the table so people know what steps to follow in order to unlock their wealth identity, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I think it's really important that you bring that out. What do you think makes your approach to building different from other money experts? I mean, I mentioned one right now, but what are some other ways?
Um, well, it's my biggest distinction is integration. The financial services world is extremely segregated by design.
Yeah,
So a CPA has a license, real estate agents, brokers have licenses, insurance have licenses, financial planners. And financial planners, their base class is less time than it takes to go to school to cut hair, is how pathetic the training is.
yeah.
And so everyone has a license that's
They're
segregated, paid in
often,
fees and commissions.
yeah, they're employees
So
that
why would
are
they?
earning. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
they're
you.
employees mostly they're mostly employees that earn a fixed amount. They're not millionaires who are running your business,
Right.
and they don't talk intentionally. They're not integrated intentionally.
Yeah,
So then you have an estate lawyer that's creating this a massive estate plan and asset
yeah.
protection, not talking to your tax team, and to find somebody who can what I call quarterback and really advocate. I just saw this huge gap. So early in 2020, in the like 2002, oh 03, I would just tell people these are the people you need on their team. They go out and get them. And then I found myself training experts who had absolutely no interest in talking. And I said, well, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to go out and I'm going to find the experts and lay down some very rules of our community, and everybody's going to stay in their lane, and we're going to operate on behalf of the client. The client's agenda wins, and we work for the client. So
Mhm.
you will get paid in a different way, but you're not going to be paid in your traditional ways. The thing you're going to get though is my volume of clients. So people come through the integrated wealth systems process. we in this chapter 3 of the book, and I'm going to give everyone an ebook copy of this book. So if people go to, let me see what the link is, askloral.com, askloral.com/Carol register, you will get this and a couple tickets to one of my events that I do once a month that sets up how do you become a millionaire
Wow. Wow.
or even 100,000 there. Just get
Yeah.
yourself in a better financial situation because most people don't.
It's so true. And, I even noticed, speaking to what you just said, that I had an international tax expert. Well, I still do, but once he graduated from Georgetown with his legal degree, the IRS forced him to choose CPA or law. He couldn't do both. And so that was very interesting finding out that distinction. And just being able to educate ourselves along the lines you were talking about, who's advising us, who's guiding us? Is it an employee that's making far less than
Yep.
you're making, like you mentioned? So, what are the important steps that you recommend then for someone
Mhm.
who really wants to start building wealth quickly?
Well, quickly is you got to learn to make money. So we're taught, I teach a concept called living corporate life, which means
Yeah,
the way you make money, the way wealthy people make money is inside a company.
yeah.
And there's corporate structure all over the world. As you said, I've been in every continent. The difference is America has the strongest. It has 4 different kind of corporate structures. So when your company makes the money, not you, I always say companies, right? Companies make money, individuals get taxed. So too many
Mm,
people think they need a big paycheck. I make $42,000 as a single mom.
mm.
So that's,
Yeah,
and I don't need more than that because my companies have, like, I don't own a phone, I don't own a vehicle, I don't own a home. Those are allowances that are driven through my company that makes millions, but I don't own the phone. I
yeah,
Laurel don't own a phone. So it's how do you live really the Rockefeller principles of own nothing, control it all.
yes,
And the first thing you have to do, though, because we're not taught that, we're not taught to live corporate life and entrepreneurial life. We're
yeah,
taught to become employed. So the first steps are in addition to your employment, you do have to have another business, a legal intent to make money. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be worth millions, but you do need a business, whether it's a small franchise, whether it's just 21st century lemonade stand. You could do like I have literally big executives at company, and one on this has a business that's a metal artist, builds beautiful metal
wow,
lamps and gates and things. I have another one who's just partnered to some direct sales companies and sells a whole nutrition program. Others that work on brain tap and other brain products. So you just have to have a business. But the biggest skill that wealthy people have and know and have on their tool belt is a way to make money. And
yeah,
the fastest way to make money is use your brain. And most people don't know how to monetize their expertise. And everyone, like you have neuroscience, I have money. Even a teacher, they could hang out a shingle and be a tutor. And I'll say, well, I don't want to. Well, this isn't what you want to do right now. This is, and I do believe over time, like you're living your passion, I'm living my passion. But we all of the steps we got to be who we are, there were
yeah,
things that we did along that journey that weren't our passion, roles.
for
So your
sure.
first business is to make money.
Yeah.
Just get in business and just learn to make money, which means marketing, sales, and cash flow.
Mm.
And those aren't taught. Even my son is a
Very
CPA.
true.
He doesn't taught how to market, being a CPA or sell or understand the cash flow of his own company. So
Yeah.
I do a lot of work with small businesses, small, medium-sized businesses. I've got clients that make 100 million, 50 million, 20 million.
Mhm.
So our range of breadth is really high because I have such an integrated team. It's me and 28 other financial and business experts that are
Wow.
part of that. That is what integrated wealth is. Yeah, it's
Wow,
fun.
that's fantastic. So
It's super.
that number one simplest way is it sounds like definitely using your brain. So, mentorship with that and having a business, right?
Yep.
The number one, have a business, have a way to make money. And you mentioned
Mhm.
several different ways, several different avenues that you do it. So it may not be your passion, but you could be selling products, for example, like you mentioned, or working with other wealth
Well,
executives. You want to add, keep
well,
going.
and like my first, Yeah, I mean, one thing too, though, because you said I'm a money manager, I'm not. I'm not a manager means I have a license. I have no
No,
license. I'm an
working with
educator.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
I work
Sorry.
with, yeah, I have of everybody that's on our team that needs a license has a license. And I'm not sure when your friend graduated, but you can have a law and a CPA you can have both as of, I mean, I know today that's a standard. You can have both. So I don't know what era that he
Interesting.
couldn't
Yeah.
do those things.
I'll have to
Yeah,
ask.
but all of you could be a mentor. All of you could be a coach. All of you could guide or consult. I mean, a simple example of how to make money is a housewife. Her husband is a GC, general contractor, makes tons of money. She's raised 8 kids. He said, I don't have any skills. And I said, you raised 8 kids. What's the one thing you're most proud of? And she said, well, I had one son who had autistic tendencies, and I researched and came up with a nutrition program. And it's so good. It's just everybody in my family's on it. And I was like,
Wow.
then write a cookbook. And
Yeah.
she's like, but anybody could do that. I said, you don't understand. Busy people want consolidation. If you're willing to do all that research and all that homework and come up with the recipes that really has reduced his autistic tendencies,
Yeah.
there's such a need for that. Go like create an online recipe book, whatever you do, put it up online. She had no idea how to monetize it, but she had, I mean, everybody has something. They just haven't thought, how do I make money with this skill, with this thing? And my transition out of Chevron, right? Because I lived the corporate life, Chevron, did all that fitness, is I called Bob Proctor 1995, 96,
Wow.
and I said, I'm done with that. I want to get back into I want to get to the money side, which I was where I
Yeah.
started. So he introduced me to she was I went to work on a contract to be the master distributor of the game for Robert and Sharon and the Rich Dad Poor Dad Bad for cash flow.
Yeah.
And then so that, but I share that because that gave me the umbrella of the Rich Dad Poor Dad brand. I got to see their marketing department. I got to see their sales department. I got to see their accounting department. I got to see their distribution, their wholesaling. I saw everything.
Wow.
Then when I became a millionaire in real estate in 1999, I launched. So I went not no, knowing I wasn't going to stay, but I went there to learn. I went there to make money. Number one, I made a lot of money. I sold so much for those guys.
Yeah.
But also behind the scenes, they weren't coaching, so I could take on the coaching. So I sold their books, their game, and started my stuff. So there's a way for all of you to walk into what you want to do and have the passion and the love. But like a lot of you, you're like me. Like, and even when I started Live Out Loud, which then became Integrated Wealth Systems,
Yeah.
I didn't have any books. I used everybody else's. I used Bob Proctor's. I still use Robert and Sharon's, the Rich Dad Poor Dad stuff. I use Keith
Yeah.
Cunningham. I'm sure you know DC Cordova. I use Money and You. So I used everybody else's great content while I was the person spending time with them. So all
Yeah.
of you all have an ability to use other people's brilliance and combine it into a package called bundling to
Right.
make you distinctively different. So, people who say, oh, I'm so stuck, I can't make money, you don't want to. You want some magic wand, which by the way, you'll enjoy this, Carol. Look, I have a magic wand,
I love
but it
that.
doesn't work. See, because people say, "Oh, you have a magic wand." Yeah, but it doesn't work. It doesn't have any magic other than the fact it's just fun to look at and has fun words on it. But a lot of people think there's this magic wand or this,
You're the
pixie dust.
magic.
And yeah, it is. It's another person that's going to inspire you. And
Yeah.
one of the things people ask is, how did I move so quickly in my career? Is I always had a mentor. I still today have people
Yeah.
who I pay to coach me and mentor. And people say, "Well, at your level," and I said, "There's always another level.
Yeah.
There's always a distinction. There's always something you need to work on." And it's being that perpetual learner that I don't think I know has kept me in the game.
Yeah, that I love this so much because you've given us so much here. Mentoring, I noticed that right away. What did you do when you were in that transition? You immediately called Bob Proctor and
Yeah,
you
I called
went
a
and
mentor.
sat and learned at the feet of an incredible mentor, right? And you were continuing to build your skills as you are today, because every time we are in learning and we're with a mentor, we are developing and building skills, which we can then bring value to the marketplace. And with that value in the marketplace at scale, we can monetize that. It becomes so beautiful when we're able to do that. So, building a business, having a mentor, being able to fund things in a way that brings you in the three elements of business that you mentioned, so that we have the cash flow and
Yep.
we can continue to grow from there. I mean, it's really incredible what we have available and using what you have, what your
Hmm.
unique abilities are. If you've raised eight kids, you have managed a business. I don't care. There's no other way to put that,
It's
right?
family business.
Right. And that takes budgeting, that takes planning and organization, that takes
Yep.
systemization. I mean, nursing, driving, all the things, right? So you're well equipped. Um, and I love the way you're making it more simple. You're just bringing things out that keep it simple for us, and we can really
Hmm.
unlock our wealth identity and know who we are with the ability to produce in a way that we want to produce. Would you just address that a little bit between entrepreneurship and corporate? Because you've been on both sides and
Yep.
both are great. But would you have a preference one toward another, or would you
I would
put
never have
one
a
in
job.
an
I
order?
would, um, I, the order that it occurred for me worked because I actually wasn't an employee. I started my first real entrepreneurial venture was 7 aerobics instruction. So I started in the fitness world, got my business degree, and then continued a master's degree in exercise physics because I didn't really want to work in an investment bank. But I hadn't hired enough mentors during that college experience to really realize what entrepreneurship was. And it's not taught properly. Mentors teach you entrepreneurship. Even the schools, they're taught by business administrative old professors that maybe ran a little side hustle, but they've never run a multi-million dollar company. So for me, the only reason I had to become an employee for Chevron for those years is because I couldn't afford the helicopter insurance. And I was flying around on seaplanes and mostly helicopters offshore. So I
Right.
had to become an employee. But being an employee is the highest tax position anywhere in the world. So
Yeah.
if you choose to be a high income earner, you will be taxed at the highest rate. The only way to take that down is to have your own, what I call cash machine, your own business, so you can activate a ton of deductions. You cannot just have a whole lineup of passive income, like of passive real estate. A lot of people who are big employees think, well, if I have enough passive real estate, which is, by the way, real estate's never passive. A tenant turns over, an Airbnb tenant, wrecks your property. You're always going to be active in that, but
Right.
it's not enough tax advantage. And then how you really invest, the alternatives, what I mean by that is you're not going to buy a REIT on Wall Street. You're going to buy the real estate. You're not going to buy a Chevron stock. You're going to buy the oil well in Texas, Louisiana, or offshore, or in art,
Yeah.
in Venezuela, wherever you find a good deal. Oklahoma's got some really great deals going right now too. Line stock, you're buying your own airplane.
Yeah.
So when I say the alternatives, you're buying the asset that gives you the depreciation schedule. So it's how you make your money. Taxes is really what I call a trifecta. How you make it, into what company that allows what deductions, and
Yeah.
then how you invest. That all together is a strategy, a tax strategy, and we excel at that. I mean, integration takes a little time because I'll meet clients. Our average client usually comes with a fair amount of money. Some of them millionaires, some of them not. I tend to get a lot of widows who have a lot of life insurance going, now what do I do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they may not have made the money or they did make the money,
Mm.
but taxes is what kills them financially.
Yeah.
If they don't manage it, and you have to pay attention. You can't just kick that out to a CPA or some basic tax team. Most people who do taxes, I call CPAs historians. You hand them your big box of stuff after you did your year and there's nothing to fix. They need to be with you during the year if they know how to do that. And what I found is a lot of CPAs don't know how to be with you and strategize for a low tax basis. They
Right.
just document what you did. And that's an
Yeah.
historian. That is not a strategist. A strategist is what we do. We strategize forward. What are you going to do? How much money are you going to make? Where do you want to invest? Let's start looking now. And we lay out the plan in front of you versus worry about what happened behind you. And a lot of people are stuck financially because they're so stuck about what happened in the past. And so I have a saying, it's called, so what now what? So what happened in the past? That's not going to affect you. Now, what do you want to do about it? And then I plan from there with you is what do you want to do? What do you want to do to make money? What are you going to do? Our teams will figure out your corporate structure. You're not going to run to the Secretary of State and get an LLC just because you need an LLC. Maybe you need an S corp. Maybe you need a C corp. Maybe you need something else. So we start with a complete foundational. I call it architect. Like we're going to fix the architecture of your wealth building. Then let's go make more money, invest more money, and you use a team. You're not going to do this by yourself.
Yeah.
If you do, good luck. It's just too much to know and too much to learn.
I love that. And I think it's the rich dad, poor dad principle. You can't be an expert. Well, you can, if you you may be super level, but multiple years in HR and legal and accounting and inventory or distribution.
Mhm.
And that idea that you're captaining the ship and then going out and having the expertise to help you. And I love what you brought out about strategy, right? And versus a historian, it's exactly what it is. You're just handing your accounting all the documents. And if you're not sitting and planning the future, then you're not really taking advantage of all the things that are
Yep.
available to you. And the thing I love too is, well, the tax code's over 70,000 pages, and I've
83,
is it?
83,000. Mm-hmm.
I
The big, beautiful bill just took it all the way up. Yep.
I've been in a situation where talking to 10 accountants in a row in different countries, 10 in the US, 10 in here in
Yep.
Chile, for example, and they have 10 different answers every
Yep.
time. But what I love about what you're talking about is that you can go and work with somebody like Laurel, who has the team, has the expertise, has the testimonials of the work that she's done and what she's produced. And so you can know that you're in a good spot there and you're actually doing something that you may have never taken action on before. So thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. And I do a class like the tickets, if they go to that link, I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes to the Ask Laurel, AskLoral.com/Carol Register. I have two tickets. It's called the Millionaire Intensive, where like there's just a 2 hour period in the beginning where I talk about how your company makes money, how you do those deductions. Like I basically give you a blueprint of how you can reset your foundation. Then, I mean, then those who really want help then continue to come forward, have a one-on-one session with our team. So you're going to be offered that. And if you want our teams to help, because we're integrated, and then, Carol, I'll have those people who will go off on their own and say, well, I'm going to find one of all the people she has. And then they'll try to quarterback it. But they don't have enough experience. So then they'll come back a year or two later and say, oh, I should have joined or I should have got your help because I tried it on my own, but I didn't know what I was doing. Because at some point, you, the entrepreneur, like I'm speaking to everyone listening to this broadcast, you need to be the one focused on making money and investing money. Those are your two choices. Everything else, our teams will surround you and help get stuff done with and for you because it's too much to do and
When
you don't
you're
have enough expertise.
when you're focused on the marketing, the sales, and the cash flow,
Yep.
that's your role in your company so that
Yep.
your company can flourish and grow and be an actual business. I don't remember what the exact statistic is, but I believe it's over 95% of businesses don't last 10 years or fail
Yep.
within 10 years. And that's something to take very seriously because your expertise is out there. It is available for us. We can go get it. We can start to learn and grow and expand in ways we may have, excuse me, got a dry throat all of a sudden. I've been
That's all
talk.
right. I got you. That's why I keep drinking too. I always drink water. Well, lots of water. They're
Okay, give me one second.
fine. Editors. That's what we have editors for. And I probably have about a few minutes left and then I got to wrap.
I was going to say, you've given us so much. We can wrap up here and then we can do that part two. I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, go to the link and get my book, read up to chapter 3, do a gap analysis. You can always call our office 775-588-9200, ask for a one-on-one session, or the gap analysis in the book will guide you back to a one-on-one. And that whole one-on-one is really to help you identify your gaps and where you are. And then from there, then we give you 2 tickets to attend an event. The next one's August 6th. So hopefully we're airing this before then. If not, the first Thursday of every month, we do an event. And we'd love to have you. And it's a free event. So you can come and start learning where your gaps are, what you need. And I've never met anybody that doesn't need something in their plan.
Right, exactly. Thank you,
Yeah.
Laurel.
Thank you.
So just to repeat that one more time, reach out to that phone number, get a one-on-one, find out where your gaps are, read the first 3 chapters in,
Yep.
hold up the book again so
The
we can
Millionaire
see
Maker.
that. The Millionaire Maker. She's known
Yep.
as the Millionaire Maker. Then also you will be able to receive the tickets for August the 6th,
Yep.
the
Millionaire
incredible
Intensive.
the incredible intensives that you're having so
Yeah.
that we can come in and we can really begin to grow and do things quickly and easily in ways we may not have considered before. And that's the
Yeah.
part I really love. I
Yeah.
can't wait to have you back on. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I'm super honored. And
Yeah.
let's start to apply what Loral Langemeier has shared with us today. Ciao for
Thank
now.
you. Thanks, Carol.